Hmm. Hmm.
I'm not convinced I know how to read. I've just memorized a lot of words.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
True. All life ends in death, which we, as a species, are cursed with knowing, resulting in something. Again, this is really not my field.
Using his vast knowledge of history and politics, we start our day off right with motivational speaker Richard Battle.
I love having this cat on the program. He messes with my head. Mr. Battle, thanks for being here.
Well, good morning. We need to air one of our show discussions one day as opposed to having our regular discussions.
So many. Okay, let's just get in the green room if we can. Most folks that do the show are in the green room, if you will. They sign up on the Zoom chat thing, and they're maybe there 3-4 minutes before their time to go on. But you, because you're my first guest every Wednesday, you come in generally, I don't know, 10 minutes early. We're having a cup of coffee. We're just chatting about whatever. And no, I don't know that half the stuff we talk about could put on the air, because then people would say, what? I don't know if that's true. But you and I spend more time chatting than I do with any of my other guests. I don't mean that good, bad, or different, but because you're always there, you're always on time, you're a little early, and we just sit and chat until it's time to do the show. I appreciate you, Mr. Battle. Here's what I don't.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having us again.
Here's where I think you don't, maybe you know, maybe you don't, but you muck with people. So we talked about Labor Day last week, right? Because the Labor Day holiday. And you were on the best of Al for Labor Day, by the way, because it was a nice show about Labor Day. I don't know, about half a dozen times throughout Labor Day, as you're meeting people, as telling people, hey, happy Labor Day when you're golfing, whatever, is I thought differently about it. It wasn't just a flippant thing. It's like, let's take this thing seriously. And it's all because of Battle. You're mucking in my head, man. Get out of there.
It's my pleasure.
For folks who tune in who don't know, Mr. Battle wrote the book Made in America by AmeriCANS, not AmeriCANS. Fantastic book. Then he decided he'd one-up it and do AmeriCANS Who Made America, the 18th century version, the Birth of the Republic. This book, if there's a history book you got to have, this is the one. For any family, got kids, this thing is fantastic. Then to outdo himself one more time, it's now my new favorite. It is Americans Who Made America, the 19th century, the growth, division, reunification. Many more stories in this that I think will wake people up. That'll think, oh, I didn't know that. I think this one needs to even have more pearls in it than the last one. Nothing to shake a stick out on the last one, but this one really does do that for you. You want to read a book that make you think? These are the ones. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we talk every week when you get in here. You're a bit of a historian. You like to take a lot of, you're a business guy. You do a lot of motivational speaking. By the way, we never talked about that. Somebody wanted you to come do a speech for them, Zoom or fly in or whatever. How do they do that?
Well, the website's richardbattle.com. They can email me, richard@richardbattle.com.
Okay, fair enough. Today we're going to talk about leadership success. And what do you think it takes to be a good leader? What would there be if you busted it down?
Well, and I thought about it here. You're in Minnesota, and so we can use the 3M tie on this because I have
like
3
that.
points, and it's based on mission, mates, and math.
Can I share with people when you sent the number 1 is mission, number 1 is mates, and number 2 is math? That's how you sent them to me. You had a typo. I'm like, number one is. I thought maybe it was for emphasis. And I go, oh, okay, these two are really important. Then math. Okay, let's start. Number 1 mission. What is the mission? What does that got to be?
Well, the mission is the leader has to have a vision of where he or she wants to go and take the organization. And then they have to communicate that vision to others, because if the people on your team don't know where you're taking them, they can't trust you as well. They don't know where you're going. They can't buy into where you're going and say, I want to go there as well. I'll overperform to get there. So having the vision, defining where you want to go, communicating that, and then getting the team not to focus on the outcome, but focus on the process. What's the process everyone has to do for the organization to succeed? And so take example in a baseball game, if the players focus on winning the game, they put too much pressure on themselves. But if they focus on catching the ball that's hit to them, throwing the ball, hitting the ball, running the bases, they focus on all those different components. If they do those components in the process well, then they've done everything they can control and they've contributed everything they can to the team. And they don't do what coaches will tell you on TV when they say he tried to make a play. That's when somebody tries to influence an outcome without focusing on process.
That is interesting because a lot of the stuff we talk about, especially in leadership, I think about the service and when I was in the service. And everybody in the organization in the Army had to know what the goal was. We're going to take this hill. We're going to do whatever. Then everyone was told how we are going to do it. The process. You're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do this. That's all you got to worry about. You get to here, and we'll be fine. And the service teaches you that. I mean, that is what you're taught. The process is how you get to your goal. If you just have a goal and no process, it's just a dream.
Well, that's exactly correct. And I love the winningest college baseball coach of all time, Augie Garrido, wrote a book about that. And it was interesting because that's what he taught his players. You just focus on process. Don't worry about what's going to end up happening. And if you take care and do your part of the process, you'll be fine and we'll take whatever comes out of it. And so that to me is a great illustration of what we're talking about. And it's applicable everywhere.
Yep.
And that's the thing. But too often we let people focus on the outcome. We've got to win the game. We've got to win the game. And they forget something in the process.
See, and I think when you do the process version of it, it gives you not necessarily an excuse, but then football, my son's a football coach at Lake Crystal. You go back and you look at film. We won or we did not lose the game. Okay, that's one thing. But if you look at the process, this or this broke down. If you do the process better next time, we'll win. You have something to work on. If it's just we lost, now what? You know, the process is things you can tweak and fix and say, okay, I did my job right. My buddy didn't make the tackle, whatever. Now we work on that process. If I help here, the process can be fixed and it doesn't hurt you mentally. It's like, yeah, we got to fix this, move that process. That's how you get to be good winning teams.
Well, yes. And one of the greatest feelings in the world is especially leading, but being on a team where you execute that. And all of a sudden, once you've achieved that victory, you look around and everybody goes, golly, how did we do that? We all did better than we thought was possible. Yeah. It's the old expression, it's amazing what you can do when you don't know what you can't do. Yeah. And once you have that established and you experience it, it makes it much easier to replicate because you trust the process and don't worry about the outcome.
Yeah. That is a great point. So mission has to be focused. You got to be able to tell the team what it is. It can't just be a pipe dream. You got to have a process. I got to go to break, and we'll talk about the number one thing, mates, and the number two thing, math, after this.
Think about it. A famous politician once said, "You're entitled to your opinion, but you are not entitled to your own facts." But in a world full of AI and fake news, where can Minnesotans find the facts? Center of the American Experiment is Minnesota's go-to source for fact-based analysis and common sense solutions for taxes, energy, public safety, and our kids' education. Visit AmericanExperiment.org for more information. Think About It is brought to you by Center of the American Experiment, Minnesota's think tank.
Dust from livestock buildings can be harmful to your animals and to you. Coughing animals can lead to costly vet visits and other serious health problems. Now there's an environmentally safe solution for your dust problems. It's called Dust Lock. Dust Lock can control the dust all summer long with just one application. Protect your animals and your health with Dust Lock. Learn more at dustlock.com.
Are you kidding me?
You know that comment you said to the radio? The thing that we got wrong?
Clearly, Brussels sprouts are the worst vegetable.
Call us and let the world know your thoughts. 855-257-7469. That's 855-ALS SHOW.
He's Richard Battle, great friend of the program, talking about the things you must have for good leadership success: a mission, a focus, of the ability to sell it, to tell the people underneath you what you want. And then, of course, he's from Texas and Australia, by way of Australia, because he calls the next one mates.
Teammates.
Teammates. Oh,
teammates. If you're a leader,
my mateys.
You've got to have teammates. If you want to achieve anything bigger than yourself, you have to build a team. And one of the things that most people that come on a team want to help. There's a few that work against you and you have to weed them out. But the ones that want to help, how do you get them to perform in a maximum way, not just for you, but for the vision and the goal that you've set? And so that's where the best leaders will understand each individual. And you have to manage people individually, not as a group, because each one's motivations are different. But if you figure out what each one's motivations are and you convince them that you're trying to help them achieve their individual goals and how their contributions to the process will help the team, they will perform at a much higher level.
I think when you get into meeting with people and finding out what their dreams are, you can weed out the weak really quickly. If you're the boss and you say, hey, we want to get to this goal, what are you looking to do? I want to make more money. Okay, if that's your singular focus in life, then we know what we have there. This is the only thing that's going to motivate this guy. Guy says, I'd like to learn this job. I'd like to find the next space. I'd like to learn enough so I can go to the next level. You got a guy who's a motivated person. You want to help him. You know what I'm saying? You can find out what motivates them to help him get to your spot.
Well, and I'll tell you a little secret. Even some people that say they're money motivated are motivated by other things. And the best leaders are people who know how to use motivation other than the two most common. Money and job security are the most common motivators. If you can learn other motivation techniques, you will succeed better. And the best place to do that is in a nonprofit, because you do not have money or job security as tools to motivate people. So if you can find out if they want recognition, if they want promotions, if they want to have that feel good from responsibility, if they want to help others, whatever it is, if you can use that and help them achieve it, they will perform better for you and the organization.
Gotcha. And then the last item, math. What is that?
Well, math is, are we looking at short term or long term? And a lot of times people get focused on the short term, especially in public companies, because the pressure each quarter for the stock price is enormous. And they sacrifice long-term benefits for the short-term gain. In an old movie, there was a character who said, the man who speaks to only one generation's already dead. The man who listens to only one generation's deaf. And so the great leaders will inspire people to influence that organization and other people beyond their lifetime.
I love that. The corporate thing, like you say, with the quarterly is so interesting. When I worked at a very large cable company at one point, it was reaching your quarterly goals was all that mattered. They'd come up with some weird sales thing because October was, don't run over kids at school time when they're off the bus promotions. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I sell year-long contracts. I'm not heading back there to nickel and we got to make our quarterly budgets. And you don't think my guys don't want kids getting run over off of school buses all year round? You're just making something up for October or whatever it was. I used to hate that short-term thinking because you try to build these long-lasting relationships so your ultimate goal would be reached. And that quarterly pressure in businesses is just tough.
Well, it's one of the sad things of our economic system, and it requires from the individual, if you want to minimize the negative impact on that, on your customers, employees, it requires better leadership and better planning on the front end so that you can try to minimize those times you have that quarterly pressure because of your advanced planning and the work you put in ahead of time.
So what happens if it doesn't happen? What kind of plan do you make for if you don't make it?
Well, a contingency plan. You always have to have a contingency plan if something doesn't work. In an organization I was in years ago, when they taught us how to do project and planning and organization planning, they call it unanticipated problems. And so that's something, as you're planning an organization or a team or whatever, if you can sit and think of what's the wildest thing that can happen and think about it. Well, if that happens, what am I going to do? Then, and you anticipate those, then when they happen, they won't be as stressful and you'll already have alternatives in mind.
It's a great option. Sir, we are running out of time. I want folks to understand that we talk a lot about your history books. You have books on business as well. I mean, you need to look at richardbattle.com. Take a look at the wealth of knowledge as Cat's got going there. History books just happens to be a phase he's in right now. And is that, I mean, no, really, you wrote some pretty darn good business books back in the day, but you haven't done that for... You're laughing at me. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm inspired right now.
Yeah, okay.
Phase is a unique word.
And my point is, it's funny. You're a business guy. Your business stuff works for all businesses if you use it right. But I think somewhere in there, and I don't remember which one of the books I was reading it, is finding your niche, finding the thing that you are passionate about, and for you, it's history. So you take your business knowledge and say, but okay, I want to do this for history because that's what I really enjoy. And all of a sudden, pop comes 3 books that I find absolutely fantastic because there's a market for it. I love history. And I guess my point is you use your business acumen to now do what you like. I don't know what phase. I mean, you found it, buddy. You hit the jackpot. This is what we're talking about.
Well, we appreciate that. I'm just glad it's not a phase like puberty.
Well, I'm just saying that maybe you'll... No, I try hard on this show. I didn't mean that in a bad way. I mean, this is just what these 3 books together should be on every American's bookshelf. And that's all I'm saying. And now maybe he'll go to, I don't know what next, knitting. I don't know what you're going to do next, but this is the one I like right now.
I thank you for that. All books at richardbattle.com are signed. We have them on Amazon, including Kindle and audio. Those 3 are right now are under a Constitution Day special we just started this week, that if you get those 3, then you get a complimentary copy of the 4-letter word that builds character as well. And so that's available at the website also.
See, that's where your business sense comes in on this. I love this. Richard Battle, richardbattle.com. Go there and check it out. And I'm telling you, get on there and have them initiate or write on your books, personalize them. They're that much better, and you got to have them in your home library. Battle, I love having you on during this phase. Is that such a bad word? I'm going to rethink this whole thing. Thanks for coming on, my friend.
It's always my pleasure. God bless America.
God bless America.
Tired of one-sided media and divisive noise drowning out your conservative values? Take